Hey guys, you know, I haven't watched it yet, but apparently Sam Roberts, who came under a lot of fire because of what he said about Bianca Belair, and Booker T, who is a WWE Hall of Famer, the topic of the title of the video is called "How Can AEW Be Successful?" And I think anybody like myself, like I'm doing right now, could take the time that they want and basically explain how AEW, All Elite Wrestling, can be successful. I think, you take a look at what, you know, you know, um, what kind of roster they have right now and where they're going to be having their second show. A lot of people would say, well, with a roster like that and your primary plan right now to just run pay-per-view events until the fall, it's all good and everything, but here's basically, sorry about that, just taking some there, but here's basically where I think AEW can be successful. I've talked about it before, and I've talked about it somewhat before, and I'll talk about it here. They have to basically prove and show right off the bat that All Elite Wrestling is not about Cody Rhodes. It's not about the Young Bucks. It's not about Kenny Omega or anybody like that. Right off the bat, the Khan family has to basically set standards. They have to set standards behind the scenes and say, look, we're happy you guys here's what I'm hoping they did this already, but if not, I'm hoping they do this before Double or Nothing. I'm hoping they sit down with the Bucks. I'm hoping they sit down with Cody and Omega and say, "Look, we're happy to help you guys out. We're happy to take this and go on this journey with you into this new chapter of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. But since we're the ones providing the money, thus them being the ultimate owners, they need to basically sit down with those four guys and say, look, you're not going to make this match or this event all about you guys. Not just the event, but you're not about to make this promotion all about you guys, because we have the money that you're getting, or not money, but we have the money that's financially backing you guys up. So if you even try to make this about you, and maybe, as some people are thinking, try to send a message to former employer that, hey, you missed the boat on me, I'm hoping the Khan family basically, like I say, sat them down and say, look, you screw with us, we'll pull the plug. And they would have the power probably legally to do so. And that's one thing that hopefully AEW can learn from. That even though it's called All Elite Wrestling, that it cannot be about the elite. It cannot be a pet project about the elite. It cannot be, as I've mentioned on several occasions, I'm sure others would agree, it can't turn out to be some kind of vanity project by Cody Rhodes to get back at WWE and say, look, you missed the boat on me, you could have made me your champ. I'm hoping that they had some kind of meeting, or will have some kind of meeting, to where things are straightened out, to where, like I said, the Khan family sits them down and says, look, you can't make this all about you. Don't think about making this all about you. Make it about what you want to make it. Make it about opportunity. Make it about bringing sports, the emphasis of sports, back into wrestling. Make it about the wins and losses that will matter. Make it about wanting to change the world of professional wrestling. Don't end up making this, in the end, just all about you because you want to get back at your former employer. And I'm hoping that's gotten discussed or will be discussed, because the one thing a lot of people fear is, in the end, this will turn out to be nothing more than a vanity project. A vanity, self-stroking ego project by Cody and the Young Bucks, mostly probably. And here's the thing. even though the Young Bucks would be involved and so would Kenny Omega, most of the finger pointing would be right towards Cody, because he's been like the focal point. He's been the face of this entire thing. So a lot of the finger pointing would be towards him if later on it starts being revealed, word starts coming out that all AEW really is, or is turning out to be, is nothing more than a self-stroking ego trip or project by Cody to prove, people like WWE wrong, or to show his former employers, hey, you missed the boat on me. So I'm hoping they got something set in stone or something in writing that states that the Bucks, Cody, and Omega cannot make this about them. That in the ring they're just as equal as everybody else. They're on the same level as everybody else. They got to earn their rights just like everybody else, or their opportunities just like everybody else. They cannot just make it about them. So that's one way I think they can be successful, by basically showing everybody right at the start with Double or Nothing that it's not about the Elite, it's not about Cody, it's not about the Bucks, it's about everybody getting a real unique opportunity. I mean, whoever Cody is bringing in to face him, they need to put that person, whether it's someone that's going to get released by WWE, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people hope I'm pretty sure a lot of people are hoping it's who they think it is, or someone we wouldn't expect. What Cody needs to do is put that individual over. What the Bucks need to do in their match against the Lucha Brothers is put the Lucha Brothers over. What Kenny has to do is put Jericho over. That is how you showcase that it's not about the Elite. It's not about stroking one's ego to prove or to show his former employers that, hey, you missed the boat, you missed a great opportunity with me to become world champion at your promotion, or in your promotion. They cannot, allow that to become a reality. They gotta prove, like I said, starting with Double or Nothing, that it's not about them. It's about everything besides them. So, yeah, I would basically say the way you start out to prove you're different and try to be a success, right out of the gate, your first event under the AEW name, the founding members of the Elite, Bullet Club, whatever you want to call it, have to lose. That's how you start proving you can be a success. Another way they can prove not to be a success, and even what Culture Wrestling pointed this out, don't fire shots at WWE just yet, or at all. Because if you start firing shots at WWE, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. We have seen that WWE, when they're pushed up against the wall, or they feel like they're going to get threatened, will bounce back and kick you right in the nuts. And that's a fact. They will kick you right in the you-know-wheres, because you're pushing them up against the wall, pushing them in a corner, and they will fight back. So one thing to truly make sure they're not going to fail, do not fire shots at WWE. Because once you start firing shots at WWE, you're pretty much dooming yourself to fail. Another way they can be successful. Another way. Yes, you got a billionaire family behind you. No doubt about that. Congratulations. No doubt. But the one way you can be successful is actually take an example from some of these promotions that you see right now. Book smaller venues. Once in a while, you could book a massive venue. MGM Grand is a decent sized venue. WCW has been there several times. WWE, I think, a couple of times themselves. But the point is, once in a while, a place like the MGM Grand in Las Vegas is a nice venue to go to. And honestly, you can make that your default venue for some of your big pay-per-view events. If you can't afford to book anywhere else, that's where you can go as a backup. You know that you have a safe point right there at the MGM Grand. But the third way to be successful, in my opinion, book smaller venues. if you have to book high school gymnasiums, you have to book places like St. Clara College, where Impact goes sometimes. If you have to book all these small arenas and venues and community buildings, whatever, to get a sold-out crowd to come and attend, then do it. If you have to go back to the Sears Center in the Chicago area, go ahead and do it. You could sell those places out. But, even though you could sell out the Sears Center in the Chicago region, and even though you've sold out the MGM Grand, the best bet in between there, if you're going to have live events once in a while, is to book smaller venues. And by doing so, you make the audience, the fans, part of the action. You make them you make it more interactive than what you would see with WWE. Because the fans, even in the far seats, would be much closer to the action than what they would be at an event. I mean, here's a fact. Deluxe Man right now is in what is known as one of the nosebleed sections at the Toyota Center in Houston for Elimination Chamber. Yeah, he can see everything. He can see things on the big screen. He can see the ring and the chamber. He can see it all. But he's in what's known as the nosebleed section. And as great as a view that might be, as great as a view as that might be, a lot of fans that get those kind of things, they might enjoy themselves, but they like to be interactive. So my suggestion, the third suggestion I have, is basically to be successful, book a smaller venue. And on top of that, here's the fourth one. Book smaller venues, but also book yourself into cities and towns that no one is considering. Book your events there. Because the moment you book your events there, in cities and towns nobody would consider, the more attention you're going to get on your product, and the more attention you can get on that town. Yeah, that's what needs to be done. They need to do something like that, because in all honesty, if they do number 3, which is book a smaller venues, and number 4, which is book their events in cities and towns nobody considers, it'll prove that not only are they a true alternative to any other promotion, but it will be stating but it'll be keeping the promises that they're going to be a fan-oriented promotion. They're going to be fan interactive. They're going to be a promotion that the fans want. They're going to be a true alternative fans want. That's the honest truth. I mean, take a look. I know this sounds strange, but take a look at the original Extreme Championship Wrestling playbook. Take a look at that playbook. They booked areas no one thought a wrestling promotion would book in. And that's being carried on today. So if I'm AEW, the fourth thing I think needs to be successful is to book live events, maybe television tapings, in areas, in cities and towns no one would think of. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example here, I should say. When I lived in Lawrence, Kansas, I didn't even know there was a wrestling promotion in that town, housed at that town. Central States Wrestling, which used to also be called, I think, Midwest Renegade Wrestling. But Central States Wrestling, I got to go to several events because of the promotion being there. I got to meet several wrestlers that currently right now work for WWE. And what it was to me and everybody else was a close interactive experience. And when you think about it, no one, not Impact Wrestling when it was TNA, not even WWE, not even Ring of Honor ever thought about booking any of the events in Lawrence, Kansas. But the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance, had Central States Wrestling as one of the subsidiary or subdivisions or sub-promotions or regional territorial promotions, and they were able to get people from TNA, from Ring of Honor, to come in and perform in a place where normally you wouldn't think those kind of guys would be. Those kind of men and women would be, but they were. So if I'm AEW, fourth thing, book places like a Lawrence, Kansas. It's a college town, very well-known college town. Kansas University. Book Allen Fieldhouse. That will get you attention. Come to Modesto, California. Book the MJC basketball arena or court, whatever it is. Book that at the Modesto Junior College. You book yourself into cities like a Modesto, California, or Lawrence, Kansas, or wherever, and you book venues or arenas like an Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas, or a MJC, Modesto Junior College basketball arena in Modesto, California, and people will come in numbers. Again, it will get attention on that town to even if you're going to even to the point that if a company like WWE looks at you as a threat and they see you're booking a place like Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas, then WWE is going to be like, well, that's viable. Let's go there. Let's go book that place ourselves. The point is, the fourth thing they should do to be successful is to book themselves in cities and places no one else would think of booking. That's one of them. The fifth one, and I'm going to finish it out with this. The fifth one, to be successful, don't debut your show on television at 2 hours right away. The premiere, yeah, fine. 2 hour premiere, fine, go ahead. But after that, go to 1 hour. Go to 1 hour, depending on whether or not you're on TBS or TNT or wherever. Go to 1 hour after your 2 hour premiere, your debut week or your debut night on Tuesday night, which is probably where you'll be. After that, go to just doing a 1 hour broadcast, and then over time, maybe if it proves to be a ratings hit and success for either TBS or TNT, then you can expand to 2 hours. But that's how I would do it. Debut with a 2 hour broadcast, and then go right to 1 hour for the rest of your schedule, and then like I said, if you prove to be a ratings hit for TBS or TNT, then you can negotiate and talk about maybe expanding to 2 hours. That's what I would do if I'm the people in charge at AEW. Another thing too, because apparently it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone that SmackDown Live is going to remain on Friday nights on Fox. So if Fox decides to move SmackDown back to Tuesday nights, then if I'm AEW, and let's say I have the 6 o'clock time slot, or 7 o'clock time slot, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern or whatever, or actually 8 o'clock, because that's when SmackDown comes on, the 8 o'clock Eastern Pacific time slot. If I'm AEW, I avoid that. I say, you know what, I'm either going to move myself to 7 o'clock, or I'm going to move myself to 10 o'clock. Because that way, you give WWE its time, and either you could be a good lead-in to WWE unexpectedly, or coincidentally, you can end up being a lead-in, or WWE could be your lead-in. That's how you should play it if Fox decides to move WWE from Friday nights back to Tuesdays. Again, fifth and final suggestion to be successful, make sure when you get your television deal with either TBS or TNT that it's a 1 hour broadcast. You can have a 2 hour premiere and maybe an occasional 2 hour broadcast if it's got a special theme to it. Like a Champions Night, all championships on the line or something. But basically, make sure that after that 2 hour premiere, you only focus on a 1 hour broadcast. And like I said, if ratings to prove to be successful, then you can start maybe thinking about expanding to 2. But those are just my 5 things that I think AEW can look at to be successful. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to check out what Roberts and Booker T have to say in a little bit. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to y'all later.